All right, so thanks for tuning in again, guys. Today we've got Adam from Matshark, which is fantastic having him on board. I've worked with Adam for a few years at a few different places, which has been awesome, and I was lucky enough to get a good sort of tester into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is what we're going to talk about today. So Adam's the one of the owners of Matshark Jiu-Jitsu, which is just a fantastic school. Welcome, Adam.
Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate being on.
No, thanks for coming on for us. So today I really wanted to just sort of introduce you to the guys and discuss a little bit more about BJJ and what it can do for people and just get your take on things and make it a little bit easier for somebody to come down, I suppose. So tell us a little bit about yourself and Matshark.
Yeah, so I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and I've had Matshark now for 3 years with my business partner, Ryan. My background's in fitness, so I spent a decent while in the fitness industry. It's how I obviously know Class. And we started a Jiu-Jitsu school about 3 years ago now, so it's been going quite well. We've had a lot of new students come through the doors, and I've got quite a lot of experience now taking people from no training to some training. And that's where most people probably fall into when they're looking at something like this. So just explaining what Jiu-Jitsu sort of is. Compared to your more traditional martial arts, Jiu-Jitsu is a very practical martial art. So every session you'll be doing live sparring, which sounds kind of like pretty confrontational for people. It sounds pretty full on, but really it's just it's pretty controlled in Jiu-Jitsu. There's no kicking and punching. It's all grappling based. So it is quite safe. And for the average person, it's probably one of the martial arts that's going to get you from being having nothing to being effective pretty quickly.
Yeah, I can speak to that 100%. I think just in my first experience with it when I rocked up with Mitch, and I had no idea like what I was in for. I'd been watching you guys do it for so long, and I was interested, and I never really took that step. And I really wish I'd done it sooner. And within 15 minutes of being there, we'd done a really, really good warm up, and I was throwing Mitch around on the mat, and it was wicked. Like it was a lot easier to get into than I ever expected. And what I loved about it too is that you could relate it to everything. Like it's practical. Everything made sense once you start to get into it. So you bang on there. Because and the other part to that too is that we had like 3 or 4 other people that were brand new on the night we came, and it didn't disrupt the class at all. It seemed so smooth, which is
that's pretty common.
Like as a personal trainer doing group stuff, and when you have new people come in, it can be really tricky to balance.
For sure.
Getting enough stuff for the experienced guys to feel like they're getting a good amount of work in, but also introducing the new guys to it. So you guys do that really well.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. The number one comment we get is probably that, like, people always say, I wish I'd done this sooner. I wish I started when I was a kid. I wish I started last year when I was thinking about it. Like, that's probably the most common comment we get from people that are new within a couple of sessions. Like, why didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah.
Probably the same as business,
100%. So I think, that's why I want to talk about it, because I want more people to have that, just break that barrier a little bit and get them in there as easy as we can, because it's worth it. It's a fantastic experience. So can you tell me a little bit more about what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu actually is?
Yep. So it's getting more like well known, but it still sounds like this really exotic style, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. People often confuse it with like capoeira, which is like a dance style in Brazil. But like Jiu-Jitsu comes from Japan originally. So it was the martial art of the samurai. And then from there, basically, it evolved down one path into judo. And then from there kind of developed and made its way into Brazil. And then from there, it was taken to a family called the Gracie family, 5 brothers there. And they developed it further with an even more scientific approach using leverage. So the scientific principle of leverage. If you have a long enough lever, you can lift anything. So they figured that if you applied that principle, you'd be able to manipulate joints a lot easier. And this is what gives the magic in Jiu-Jitsu. It allows someone who's very small to legitimately beat someone who's much bigger in a real fight. It's the only martial art that works like fighting does in the movies, where the small person somehow beats the big person. It's the only martial art in reality that actually works like that.
I can speak to that too. I got thrown around by One of the girls there that would have been 40 kilos dripping wet. So yeah, that's exactly. It works.
It's legitimate. Yeah, one of the main guys who developed it was a 60 kilo asthmatic, and he was an absolute beast. So like, it's really a powerful martial art, and I think for a lot of people that's appealing if they're like want that personal safety. If they're like maybe a woman who runs it late at night, or someone who's a bit older and doesn't feel safe in their neighborhood, or really anyone who sort of feels vulnerable. It really is the ideal martial art, just because of that fact that it gives you a realistic, legitimate chance to fight off someone who's bigger than you. But beyond that, obviously, jiu-jitsu, it's so much more than just a defense system. People often come in for those kind of reasons, but once they become proficient after a year or so, the benefit really does just come down to that sort of self-discovery journey, being constantly put in situations where you become pushed past your comfort zone and become sort of more confronted with your self. You just go through a bit of a personal change, and so many people that I've had come through the door, probably everyone, has gone through some kind of personality change where they've become more confident, more sure of themselves, more aware of who they are as a person. So that's the real value that I see in jiu-jitsu. But the way I often market it is how people sort of want to perceive it is just a martial art, a fighting style. But once you get in there, you realise very quickly there's a lot of benefits people didn't realise that start to come in, even the weight loss and stuff, and the gain in strength, and just that personal confidence, self-belief, and on top of obviously being able to defend yourself is all pretty cool, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I think like that's bang on, because it's human chess while grappling someone like this. What I could see when we would do those little bits of sparring at the end, where every move I would make, it would open up 6 different options for the other person, and then I've got to be aware of what those are, and then also be looking at what they've got to do as well. And that was really interesting for me, because it brings you into that sort of presence. Like if you're not present in that, then you get found out very, very quickly. And it's kind of a moving meditation in that way. Like you have to be very aware of what's going on, which is, I found it really, really cool. It like at the end of every session, I was kind of switched on and just felt good. Like, whether we'd been practicing a particular move that would, you might be doing a choke or something, and you're like, you have to get choked because of that. But it's done in such a controlled way that it's like, there's no real risk. Like you just, you got it right. Yep, that's it. Cool. All right, now I'm going to practice on you. Cool. Yeah, and then swap it around. And you would think by the end of that, you're absolutely cooked, but you're not. Like you're that switched on and aware of what's going on. It's
exactly. That's the advantage of striking styles, I think. Whereas like striking styles, you're going to get hit, you're going to get kicked. Like jiu-jitsu, you can train 100% and you'll pull up fine the next day. You get the work in, you get the benefit, and you just pull up fine. Like tiny bit sore maybe, but you're not going to be anything compared to a striking style. So you're getting all that benefit without the impact. So obviously from a fitness background, you can understand the value of that. Like it's jumping onto a box versus jumping off something onto the ground. So I think that ability to train consistently at a higher intensity without much risk of injury and soreness is why guys accelerate super fast. I just, because I was nervous coming into it. I was thinking, I know nothing. I'm going to get just the crap kicked out of me for the first, however long. And I just thought, I was going in and just putting myself on the floor essentially at the start. And that didn't happen. Like it, obviously you learn by having that happen to a degree, but it's just so controlled that it was, and the other thing I found too is that the guys that are experienced and have done it for a while, like again, there's that sort of lack of ego there. Like there's nobody is trying to kind of make an example of you or anything. It's just like, hey, like this is what you could have done better. This is how I got this. And that was really cool to see, because I learned a lot quicker that way. Yeah, for sure.
That lack of ego from the guys that knew a lot more, working with the guys that were brand new to it.
Jiu-jitsu is an amazing douchebag filter.
Much. Absolutely.
Like, pretty much people that have a huge ego and come in, they get humbled extremely quickly when some 60-kilo female chokes them. So they kind of they either adapt and their personality changes, or they leave. And if they stay, they get broken down and they become humble, and then they get built up again in the right way. And then that sort of just causes this unique sort of network of people that are very adapt to what they're doing, but also very humble, and they love the art so much they just want to teach it and help spread it. So when someone new comes in, they're really motivated to help you learn, but not from a place of ego as well, which is a huge factor. And like you said, when you first come in, you're going to feel pretty nervous. You don't really know what you're in for, that sort of risk of the unknown. But all those sort of fears are very unfound. Like once you get in there, you just realize it's very similar to a lot of different fitness classes, really. You're just in close contact with people, and you lose that sort of close contact sort of anxiety very quickly as well. You realize
absolutely.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah. 100%. Like that's, I was a little bit like worried about them. Oh man, like I stink, I'm sweaty, like I'm working really hard. And it's like, no, like it's not, everyone is. It's, exactly, everyone's on the same playing field. Like no one is any different.
No, exactly right.
How new you are to it. And I think like just the lack of ego was just really, that was incredible. Like you come in and you realize very quickly that one, like you're not special, which is nice knowing that. Like it is like the humbler, and it brings you into that presence of like, hey, like, it's not all about you. It's just about being here now and understanding what's going on and paying attention to it properly. And you become aware of a lot more things, and you're okay with losing. Like you get good at it, and you learn from it a lot quicker. And I always found I was learning the moves a lot quicker when they were performed on me, and I was obviously not winning that scenario, but it wasn't about that. I was like, okay, that's how it's supposed to work. Now I can try it. And that was,
exactly.
That was cool.
Yeah, the goal is to learn, obviously. Yeah, like the fastest way to get good is to lose a lot, pretty much. Like get submitted a lot. I've tapped more times than anyone on my mat has, obviously, like over the years. Like you just have to go through that, and that's how you learn. If you win, you don't really progress, you don't really evolve. So it's good to win and stuff, but the reality of it is the bottom of the iceberg is just a whole lot of losing, pretty much.
Yeah. And it's absolutely fine. Like, no one puts it on you or anything that's the case. It's just like, hey, like that's part of it. That's
part of the process. People understand that. Yeah, it's not a competition. It's literally just training. Like there's no negative or positive outcome. There's just the outcome of trying to learn. Yeah,
perfect. And like even from like I suppose from like a fitness point of view, I found that I was a lot more aware of my limitations with the movement, and that sort of highlighted a few areas for me. I'm like, hey, if I work on this, I'm going to be able to move a lot easier in this sense, and that's going to help me here. And you have to be able to move 360 degrees and through some really weird sort of bends and stuff, but it's not hard. Like we had people that were there when I first like got into it too, that was their method for losing a bit of weight. And I was like, I never even like considered that. And the dude like dropped a lot very quickly. Like I saw him there like, a few months later, and I was like, you were a different person. Like this is awesome. And he was there consistently. And so it's effective. You're getting used to working really hard without putting too much impact on your body. Like you said, you can bounce back nice and quick, and you get so many other benefits out of it. It's just kind of just a little bonus on there.
I think that's the thing with jiu-jitsu. It's like, it's super addictive, and people enjoy it so much that they go for so many reasons. Part of that's the community, part of it's just enjoying the training yourself, the personal challenge, whatever it is. But the whole time they're subconsciously getting fit. And a lot of the time, people that come to the door, it might not even be their main goal, but they just look like so much better after like 3 or 4 months. You can see like, a few kilos come off. They're eating a little bit healthier because they want to feel better for training. Their body's a bit stronger because they're moving around through these like body weight movements without even really thinking about it. And just naturally they go through this little bit of a change. And that's really cool to see in people. And then maybe they start thinking a bit more about fitness as well. Like they get more conscious of like, oh, it actually isn't that hard. Maybe if I put some effort in, I'll be able to actually, start to get somewhere. And then they start going to the gym, and then, it all starts to tie together. And that confidence goes through the roof, because once you can defend yourself, you start to look better. All these things start coming together. Like it really is like a life-changing experience for people, Like they don't brag on that when they come in, but that's what they get when they sort of rock up without realizing it, you know.
Yeah, 100%. I think and that's huge. Like it's about building that momentum, and I think that's why people struggle with the gym, is that it becomes a bit of a chore. Whereas when you're looking forward to something like, you know, going to Matshark, it's something you really look forward to. So you're going to be more consistent, and you're not thinking about doing it for those reasons. You're doing it for a completely other set. That's just kind of the bonus that happens as a side effect, essentially. So that's awesome to see. Can you tell us a little bit about the grading system there then? So when you walk in and you see a few people wearing the gis for starters, and they've got their belts on, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so there's 6 belts in jiu-jitsu. So it goes through the 5 main belts. So white, blue, purple, brown, and black. And then there's a red belt, red belt is only given after about 30 plus years of being a black belt. So it's very far down the line. Often the guys that are red belts are super old dudes in Brazil. They're like in their 80s often. So we really focus on the 5 belts for most people. It takes on average between 10 to 12 years to get the black belt in jiu-jitsu, which is a really long time compared to traditional martial arts. You can go to a taekwondo school and be a black belt in 3 years. So if you're training for the belt, I would say don't come to jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
And in particular, don't come to Matshark, because we're very stringent on our gradings. We sort of try to preserve the art in that sense, where the belts really mean something and you earn every part of your grading system, which is gratifying, because when you get that belt, you know you deserve it, and that's what you are. So the first belt takes anywhere from a year to 2 years on average. That's the blue belt. So white to blue is a huge change for people. So you go from white to blue, and purple, brown, then black. And on each step of the way, you have like a black bar on the belt. And on that black bar at the end, you get 4 stripes. So a white stripe on each part. And then when you have 4, the next step is the next belt. So from white belt, the first stripe's given pretty quickly, anywhere from a month to 2 months. And then from there, about 3 months between each stripe. Just depends on a few factors like the frequency the person trains, how fast they obviously pick things up, their attitude, a few things like that as well. Like I've had people before at another place I used to coach where they were quite athletic and could move well, pretty proficient, but they hadn't made that ego shift yet. So I wouldn't award them a blue belt until they made that shift. So all these things come into it, you know.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how it works. Yeah. So 5 main belts and then 4 stripes on each belt, and it's a slow process, but very gratifying to get graded in jiu-jitsu. It means something, you know.
Yeah, no, I love that. And so when you come in, so obviously you've got gi and no gi. Can you explain the difference there?
Yeah, so gi is a traditional uniform worn by the Japanese for martial arts, and basically you learn to fight with that uniform. It's kind of like training wheels. Like it gives you points of leverage. It gives you a way to grab and control. But the reality of fighting is too, someone on the street could definitely be wearing a jacket or a shirt, and you learn to make them unconscious with that shirt or those sleeves, which is hugely powerful. There's heaps of leverage in the clothing that someone wears. We also do no-gi, which is basically you wear like a skin-tight sort of shirt or tight-fitted clothing with a dry-fit shirt you'll use for running maybe, and just like gym shorts. No-gi is more it's more scrambly, it's harder to control people, and that's kind of like the real sort of athletic version of fighting that's more suited to people that want to do high-paced sort of grappling, or they want to compete in maybe MMA where there's no gi, obviously. But in reality, doing both is what I've found to be most effective for overall training. And I don't specialize in one or the other, whereas often a lot of coaches do. They're really good at one or the other, and they only compete in one skill set. But I've always done half and half. So my training is always split down the middle, half and half. And I just see it like in the gym, if you were doing upper body and lower body, you do them both. You don't just hammer down on one because you get an imbalance, right? So
yeah, that's it. It's all about balance.
Exactly, yeah. So like my black belt, I want to have equal skills and I want to be a certain level in both those skills, yeah. But yeah, people can just take to one or the other and get really good at that. But in general, I like my students to be at least a blue belt level in both before they start to specialize.
No, that's awesome. And one thing I noticed, and I was aware of before I came in, but I definitely didn't want to get it wrong anyway, was I suppose having that respect for the mat. So when obviously you rock up and you help set it up and everything, and I suppose getting onto it and getting off, are there any things that people should probably know before we come in, but you'll tell them anyway when they're there, but it's nice to know beforehand?
Yeah, the big one's no shoes, like no shoes on the mat at any time. So this goes back like centuries old. It's more of a respect thing, but also just the hygiene. So if you put a footprint on the mat, that can carry all kinds of stuff, and then people are rolling around on it with their sweat and maybe like a wound or something, and then we get what's called like staph, which is an infection, which can be quite bad. You can get ringworm, all kinds of stuff. So our mats are super clean, no shoes ever. We constantly clean them just because like we don't want that sort of thing happening, But yeah, beyond that, you have to bow when you get on and off the mat as well. And it's just a sign of respect for the space you're working with. And it's just a bit of a, to be honest, more than anything that I like to keep those traditions in place is more of a mental cue that I'm about to train now. So when you enter and when you leave the mat, you can sort of switch your mindset to the activity you're about to do, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. Like when you first get into it, that's probably not going to mean as much as when you get into a lot more and you're able to compartmentalize properly and just switch on and off.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, you do see like the bowing on and off the mat is massive. And what I really loved is how many people would get involved in setting up the mats, and then when everything's finished, cleaning them and then putting them back again. Like it's not left to one or two people. It's everyone does it, which is cool. There seems to be that sort of shared respect for the space and then for each other, which is awesome to see.
Definitely a strong community, and everyone sort of pitches in to help, which is awesome because the reality is when we were a smaller academy, me and Ryan and a few others putting them away, it takes ages, but nowadays it's like everyone grabs 2 mats and the job's done, so it's not so bad nowadays.
Yeah, and that's it. Like it was all pretty quick, and then like I kind of just joined the line and put some mats out, and then you would find out what pattern they have to go in just by one of the other guys saying, "Oh, chuck it here," and it was like no dramas at all. And it was just it was fantastic. I've obviously played like recreational sport for most of my life, and it's hard when you join a new club because you don't know anyone and you don't know how anything works here because it's always different no matter where you go. But you guys have done it well at Matshark. Like everyone knows what's expected. They follow along and they pass it on really well without you having to be there telling everyone, which is cool.
Exactly. That's the idea. Yeah, it is a community at the end of the day. Like, I don't want to be in a position where I'm constantly telling people to do this and do that. It's really, I want them to want to do it, and that's what we sort of try to get them to fall into, is just like the community of it all, and understand that it's not just a place for us for me and Ryan. It's their place. You know what I mean? So it's a shared space. So everyone has equal right to the space, and because of that, it's equal responsibility, and everything is just even. It's all equal, all on the same playing field. The fact that I'm coaching you doesn't mean I'm above you or anything. It just means that I'm more experienced, so that's why I'm coaching you. It doesn't mean that I've got any kind of hierarchy or social power or anything. It just means that I kind of lead the way, and then the reality is everyone has an equal responsibility for all those kind of things. That's why I put the mats away. I'm not telling someone else to do it, and I don't do it, kind of thing. So it's that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think I noticed that like you guys do kids classes as well, and those are pumping. Like those are fantastic, and I can see why. Like obviously, if I was getting into it as a parent, I'd want my kids doing this sort of stuff. Like because you learn a lot of lessons on the mat in that way. How do the kids classes run at Matshark?
We've actually suspended them until next term just because of the whole COVID thing. But usually,
good idea.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Usually it's our coaches, Kevin and Kelly. So they have 2 boys who do jiu-jitsu. They've been doing it for quite a while now. And they're both really good competitors. And they've just spent a lot of time on the mats. They've got mats in their living room. Like they're just really into it. But because of that whole process that they've gone through as a family and that whole shift, the whole family does jiu-jitsu. It takes over people's lives, right? Kevin and Kelly are really passionate about coaching, and they're really experienced at dealing with kids. They've got 2 kids themselves to train, so it makes it a lot easier, right? So when they get new kids come in, they sort of understand how to talk to them, how to get them to fit into that sort of group, how to make them sort of feel like they belong and not feel like an outsider, and all those little things that are hard to coach. But they've done that really well, and that's been huge for me to see. Is like a change in a few of those kids. One in particular I can think of, but there's a few that have made like huge changes in their personality, where they've just become like super confident, come right out of their shell, much more social. These like benefits are like priceless for a kid to become adept at making friends and that sense of belonging, and of course being able to move better and defend themselves and stuff. But like all those, again, ancillary benefits are huge. The other thing is obviously, like, you know, if kids get in a fight at school and stuff, they know how to control someone without hurting them. It's a hugely valuable skill. You don't really want your kid getting hit or hitting someone else. It's much better for the kid just to get on top, control them, let the other kid calm down until the teacher comes. Like, it's just a really good outcome for everyone, really, in my mind.
Absolutely.
But like kids jiu-jitsu, I mean, it's I can't say enough about how like the benefit people are seeing. Like, the kids are going through like huge changes, and just like one girl in particular, one little girl, when she used to come in, she would like hide behind her mum. She would be holding her mum's hand, hide behind her, look behind her leg. When class started, she would come on the mat last. She would kind of be really, like, her body language was really closed. You'd partner with someone, she'd be really tentative. And then I didn't see her for 3 or 4 weeks because I wasn't coming in for the kids' classes. And I saw her about a month later, and she walked straight in, head high, confident, walked straight on the mat, knew where she was going, said hi to her friends, you know, started the session, started throwing people around. It's like, wow, like in a very short time, that change was massive, you know.
That's
in those
fantastic.
first couple of sessions I saw her, it's huge.
Yeah, it is definitely one of those things where, like, I think I played just about every sport I ever could, just coming through it, and it just wasn't available. And I really wish it was, because that would have been huge, I think. And again, it's one of those things where I've come into it a lot later, and I definitely want to get back into it again, because I only got a taster before you know, everything got a bit hectic. But yeah, it's hugely valuable. Just in even a short amount of time, you see it, which is fantastic. That's awesome. Is there anything else that people should know before they sort of come down and check you guys out?
Look, it's pretty simple. We don't like to overcomplicate things, and it's actually, you know, it's better if we just keep it real simple and people just sort of, you know, jump on our Instagram or Facebook or, you know, our website, bjjsharkshop.com, jump on there, click on the trial. Someone will email you or text you or call you and get in touch with you and just figure out what you want to do, when you want to come down, rock up, meet myself and Ryan, and we'll take you through. It's like super simple. That's the easiest way. Pretty much anything you need to really know. The main things are just wear comfortable clothing and bring some water. That's really about it. Anything else you need, we'll cover on the night. And it's really not a lot of complicated stuff. It's literally just like simple etiquette things, and it's super smooth path to getting on board. There's not a lot of steps or complicated requirements or anything. So it's a pretty simple process.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. I was like pleasantly surprised at how easy it was to get into it. So I encourage anyone who's listening to this to jump on and give it a crack. But yeah, you guys are nailing it. So where can they find you at the moment?
Location wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 1/22 Chilora Bend. So in Jandakot there. So yeah, I'll definitely make sure that people can see the address on all of our social media and that.
Perfect.
But yeah, basically we're inside. We're subleasing a space at the moment inside TBC, the body consultants. So you won't see a big Matshark sign or anything, but you'll see TBC sign, and you'll see like a roller door, and in there just a bunch of people wearing uniforms probably.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that'll be us. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think you guys, despite obviously having to close down throughout the COVID-19 stuff, have done a really good job at, you know, maintaining just a level of value for all of you guys on the Facebook group and all that sort of stuff. Like you and Ryan, obviously being able to still, you know, show some demos and stuff was awesome. So that, like, being able to look at that and still appreciate and understand to a degree what's going on. Obviously, you don't learn it as easily as actually doing it, but it was still good to see and have that involvement from a distance. So you guys, did really well throughout this period, obviously not being able to be open. And
luckily we together, so it makes it a lot easier. And having the mats there, we just decided to punch out some content just for people to sort of work on at home if they had partners or family members they could train with. So yeah, we decided it was a good idea to keep that going, and yeah, people responded pretty well to it, so it was good.
Beauty. Yeah, no, you guys nailed it. And back up and running next week?
Yeah, Monday the 8th of June. So super excited. Obviously, been off the mats for a long time now, so it's going to be a big one, I think. Like lots of new trials coming down, lots of beginners coming down. So if you are interested, it's a good time to start because you're going to be one of many, so you won't feel uncomfortable or anything.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's if there was ever a time you want to start with a bunch of new people, it makes it even easier, which is great. But awesome, man. I think that sort of wraps up all the stuff that I wanted to cover. Is there anything else you'd like anyone to know?
No, it's really about it, man. I just want to say thanks so much for having us on and really appreciate it. It's been awesome.
No, thanks for coming on, Ads. It's always good. I think we'll be catching up shortly, I'm sure.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, man.
Cheers, guys.